When I'm forming spheres to entangle, showing robust entanglement, these spheres will move with my torso. There's plexiglass to keep it, shield it from wind. I don't know if you can see it. Especially if I move like this way. Now, these spheres are entangling with the plexiglass, but they're also entangling with my body. Why do we have spheres and why do we use spheres? Spheres, because of geometry, encourage entanglements. What are entanglements? Entanglement is what we call elastic communication. There are 4 different types. An initial field is produced. It's called a PHYSICS. A perfectly elastic line of communication exists between 2 entities that are going to entangle. And all things entangle. All atomic motion is derived from entanglements. So this first primary field is the stationary field. It's called a PHYSICS, perfectly elastic line of communication. If the entanglement survives any duration, then if a symmetry is found within the field, a symbolic or semi-inelastic line of communication is formed within this field. Its margins are moving, and it's named semi-inelastic because of the effects of this field. In other words, because the margins are growing, and because entanglements incorporate the distance in the entanglement into the field that is produced. This field is produced from nothing. As the margins grow in a symbolic, then there's a greater distance being incorporated, and it's a type of acceleration. Anyway, so the field that's produced in a symbolic grows in density. It gets higher density, higher density, higher density as the distance grows. All right, now if this system of entanglement survives long enough, then fields can be produced inside the symbolic, and it's called an iloc, or inelastic line of communication. All right, now in this iloc field, the margins are growing incredibly fast because they're growing within the symbolic fields, and these symbolic fields are growing in density. All right, so the iloc is moving incredibly fast, and its field, or its rate density that's being produced, is increasing in density at an alarming rate, all right? And it creates what's called a standing wave phenomenon, because as the iloc field is produced, the margins translate ever so this way. So you get in other words, it's not perfectly linear, but they translate, okay, away from each other. Now, if the iloc field that's produced communicates with a symbolic field, you get a shifting back and forth field that's being produced, all right? That's just a quick summary. All right, so why would we form, or why would a theory of robust entanglement predict that entanglements are created more robustly or more often when we form spheres? Well, it's just simple geometry. All things communicate. All things, or all atomic motion, is derived from entanglements. And then when we form a sphere of any material, all right, then the atoms are facing each other more readily and can then communicate. And so you get, in a cell, you would call it electrical activity that you would observe just because. In metal, you'd call it magnetic effects. But in the size of the Earth, you would call it gravity. But it's not strong or weak or electromagnetic or gravitational forces that we see. It's robust entanglement.